I was invited here today to speak on behalf of my own personal experience as a child care provider, the demand I see within my own community, and how our efforts, or how your efforts through the CCDBG directly impact providers, employers, and individuals, even at Newton High. My center in Newton consists of 3 programs. You have the 0 through 4 program, or known in our terminology as the pre-K. You have the after-school program, which is before and after care, and then you have the summer care component. All of which we serve about 170 children in Newton. That number has doubled in the last 4 years. So that right there just tells you the impact and the demand that child care has seen just over the last 4 years. It's the largest and high-quality provider of its kind in the county. Believe it or not, in the town of 15,000 people, we are the only registered care provider that offers care 6 weeks to 1 year old, which is 12 spots. So you can imagine how many parents are waiting for that wait list, encouraging us to get their child in. The Child Care and Development Block Grant, otherwise known as CCDBG, is a federal program that's not only vital, it's imperative to the success and sustainability of all child care centers that are participating in the program across this country, and mine is no exception. The funding goes from the respective state level at the Human Services Department, and then filtered down through the participating child care centers, as you guys know. This funding allows the providers to provide a quality and affordable child care to those otherwise who wouldn't have access due to their financial constraint. It allows parents the opportunity to go back to work, stay at work, or just pursue education. And I know that just sounds like fluff, but it happens on a daily basis, especially at our YMCA. Our center itself has 45% of its families enrolled in our program. So, as I say, 170 children, 45% of them are actually enrolled, right? Which is nearly half of our revenue stream coming from the state and federal dollars. So again, when I say imperative, I mean it is absolutely imperative that we encourage funding from you guys at this level. That number, that 45% number, has grown by 10% over the past few years. So you can see the rising need for assistance in our community. Now, don't get me wrong, Newton is a hard-working, blue-collar town where most families are enrolled in the school's free and reduced lunch program. I think we have 75% right now. And they work hard, and both parents, if they have 2 parents in the household, are working. And they're working overtime sometimes just to make it ends meet. But in order for these parents to stay and work in our community, the YMCA had to acknowledge that the CCDBG program was instrumental to keeping them in our community. And we also have to acknowledge that the need is growing and that we have to continue seeing some type of support from this level in order to sustain our numbers. I want to tell a kind of a story. Again, you guys get to hear a lot of the 3,000 or 30,000 foot scale, but in Newton recently in December, we actually had the second largest center close its doors due to financial instability and staffing issues, right? I mean, it happens everywhere, but this left over 50 families without care. You don't have to be a parent to understand how terrifying that would feel to be a parent who's reliant on a job, who has to feed their kids, and has no care that next week. So the YMCA was blessed and fortunate enough to actually have space for 23 of those families, which in turn, 23 of those families were CCDBG eligible. And so we were grateful in that, but the others had to find an alternative method of care, possibly seeking out temporary methods like families and friends that were local. The CCDBG made this potential crisis a better story because of this grant, but it wasn't perfect. I am just one center in one town in Iowa. These stories are happening throughout the entire country at alarming rates. So there are still some challenges that we face. There's just not enough funding to support providers and families in need. The CCDBG only covers 12% of eligible children in Iowa because of the insufficient funds. I'm going to say that again. It only covers 12%. of the actual eligible 0 through 6-year-olds. 1 in 6 throughout the country. And there are also several other issues, like a severe cliff when families don't quite make the income threshold. One family in Newton missed the cutoff by $8 a month. Their entire application was denied. They couldn't be eligible. In that case, the YMCA actually had to bear the load, right? We actually had to take them on, and we actually had to scholarship them. Reimbursement rates vary from state to state. I think Iowa's at the 50% market rate right now, and the reimbursement submission process is outdated and difficult. Some of these things are within Congress's control, and some of them aren't. My ask to you is that you, yourself, educate yourself on this program, stay connected with local leaders on the matter, and prioritize the funding of the Child Care and Development Block Grant, because the impact is far greater than just keeping child care centers afloat. You're keeping workforce strong, keeping employers well-staffed, parents happy, children healthy. The solution is Congress must continue to invest greatly in the CCDBG. Yes, funding has increased every year, and we are thankful for that. But this is just not enough when we see the demand outgrowing the funds available.